about the actual move. So, um, we owned our home in Buffalo. So, we were now tasked with selling the home quickly, too. So, we thought about renting it out, but we didn't want the added expense of hiring a property manager. We also didn't want to put that burden on any family or friends to be like a property manager while we were gone. So we decided to just sell the house. And at that time, the market was still a seller's market. So we figured we would make more selling it at that point than we would like down the line. So we decided to sell our house and needed it to sell like as quickly as possible. Keep in mind that my husband was already in Texas, right? So this was really on me to prepare the house to be sold, and the kids who were still, in school. Mostly me, because the kids ain't do nothing. So that was stressful, so stressful. Um, was the catalyst for some arguments between myself and my husband because I was angry that he wasn't there to help me. I understood and I knew, right? But that doesn't mean I wasn't like annoyed and I wasn't mad because I was. It was a lot. It was a lot to do and a lot to take on in such a short amount of time. We listed the house. Um, I don't know. The house, we left Buffalo around May 19th to come to Texas, to do an apartment search and everything. And then my husband stayed because he had to start work. Um, when I came back, the house went on the market a little bit after that. So let's just say June 1st, the house went on the market, and we plan on leaving in June, like the end of June. So it's really like less than a month, a 3-week window that we're trying to sell this house. Um, and did it sell in that 3 weeks? No. But it did sell fairly quickly. It did sell in July. We were already gone, but that was okay. It was already listed, and the house did sell. But that process was super stressful. It's stressful selling a house anyway. It's stressful selling a house when you're moving across the country. So that was not fun. So we're moving across the country, right? We have to sell our home, which means we got to empty the house. Like everything has to go. So my husband did come back several times to like help declutter and clean and pack up and things like that. But the bulk of it was on me. Again, he couldn't be here. He had to work. So we downsized as much as we could, as much as we thought we needed to, and then found a service to ship our belongings to Texas. We went with U-Haul. It was the most affordable. I could do a whole nother video about, that the service that we used to ship our items. But we did that. We shipped our items. It did take between 2 and 3 weeks for our items to reach us. So we were here in Texas for about 10 days before the trucks came with our stuff, and it was okay. We made it work. We figured it out. So that's how we got our stuff there. As far as our cars, right? So when my husband and I came to Texas to find an apartment, and he was also relocating at that time, we drove his car to Texas, and then I flew back to Buffalo. Um, and then he flew to Buffalo when the boys and I were ready to go. He flew to Buffalo. We shipped our stuff on to Texas, and then we drove my car from Buffalo to Texas. So let's just talk about the drive. Okay, it's 21 hours, because there is a time change in there. So like it'll, if you map it out, it'll say 20, but because of the time difference, it's 21 hours, and that 21 hours is no joke. So the first time it was just my husband and myself, and it was, 21 hours is long, like any way you look at it. And we had a plan. I thought we had a plan before we left. Like, okay, we're going to, let's split it in half. We'll do 10 hours, we'll stay overnight, and then we'll do 10 hours the next day, right? And 10 hours between the two of us driving, 5 and 5, that's nothing, right? We can do 5 hours each easy. So I did my first 5 hours. We switch. He gets behind the wheel, and then this man, I don't know what he was trying to do, who he thought he was, a superhero or something, because he tried to do the rest of the time in a day. And I'm like, babe, it's time to pull over. So I did 5. He ended up doing another 10 hours, 10 or 11 hours by himself. Of course, we stopped several times and we got coffee and we got food and all of that. And I kept asking him, like, are you okay? Are you good? Like, are you tired? And he's like, no, I'm good. But I knew that after that time, you gotta be tired. Like, we've been in this car for 15 hours. I'm not even driving anymore, and I'm tired. I'm tired of being in this car. Like, let's pull over. Let's go to sleep. But we were so close, and he wanted to get it over with, and I'm like, no. So we did end up stopping in like Little Rock, Arkansas, which was about I don't know, was it Little Rock? We were about 5.5 hours from Dallas when we stopped. So we stopped. We stayed at the hotel overnight. Got back on the road in the morning. Got here, in about 5.5 hours. With when we came with the kids the second time, first of all, nobody was looking forward to that drive. My husband and I were not. The kids, they had no idea, right? And then we had a dog on top of it, and our dog, she's very sweet. She's also very anxious. So we knew that this ride was probably going to be different than the first one. Now, I will say the boys did well, and the dog did well too. She did a lot better than we expected her to. Every time we stopped, she freaked out when people were getting out the car. She didn't know where she was. She didn't know where her people were going. So that was a thing. But it wasn't bad at all. And we did most of that drive straight through. My husband started it out. He doesn't really like night driving, so I took over at night. He took over again in the morning, but again, we are exhausted. Like, we're sleeping a little bit while the other person is driving, but you're in a car. Like, how comfortable can you be in a car for that long? So when we were about an hour and a half out, I'm like, it's morning. It's light outside. Let's just pull over at a rest stop and sleep for a minute, like just real quick, like an hour. And my husband didn't want to do it. I'm like, babe, this is where it gets dangerous. Like, you're almost there and you think you can make it, and all it takes is a moment to fall asleep at that wheel. I'm like, let's just pull over. So we pulled over and we slept for almost 2 hours, both he and I. And it's so funny, my son was like, he woke up and we were just in a parking lot and my husband and I were asleep, and he was just looking around like, what is going on? But then he just ended up going back to sleep. So we slept for about 2 hours, got up, did the rest of the ride to Dallas, and that was how we got here. Again, my daughter flew a few days later. That was how she got here. She's never had to do that drive from Buffalo to Texas, and she's lucky because don't nobody want to do that. That's not cool. Don't nobody want to do that. Okay, so we're in Texas at this point. The 3 kids who came with us are down there. My husband and I are there. So what was the biggest adjustment for us? And I would say it was leaving our kids and our family. Again, our youngest daughter and our 3 oldest sons all stayed in Buffalo. So that was hard, and continues to be the toughest part of this transition, especially with our daughter, her being so young, and asking for her father and not really quite understanding why he can't come to Buffalo as often, or why she can't come to Texas as often. My oldest son is back in Buffalo, and this has been very difficult for him as well. Just, kind of being thrown into adulthood. Now, he has his family. He has his grandparents. He lives with his girlfriend. But this has been quite a learning experience for him too. So, just watching his struggles, seeing our daughter's tears, our other sons, missing us, that has been pretty difficult. We've been back to Buffalo to visit several times. Unfortunately, we've had to go for some funerals. The 3 teenagers did go back for Christmas. My husband and I did not go. We do plan to go to Buffalo this month in January. My oldest son did come down for Thanksgiving. So we've seen our family. We talk to them on a regular basis. But, our parents miss us, and we miss them. We miss the kids. We miss our friends. I miss my friends. I don't have any friends here. I work remotely. I work from home. So very little adult interaction for me. So I do miss my friends. I miss going to brunches. I miss our little, our holiday parties, our little get-togethers or whatever. I miss my friends a lot. I miss my parents. My dad used to just drive by for no reason. They still call me all the time, but that has been the hardest part about this move. But like I said, we prayed on this, and we do think that we made the right decision, and we are where God wants us to be. And it's been good so far. So I will do another video talking more about our adjustments to Texas, the weather. Who child? The weather. Weather, you know, socially, schools. I'll do another video about that. So I hope you guys enjoyed my first YouTube video. Hope you got to learn a little bit about me and my family and how we ended up in Dallas, Texas. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Feels like the first time. Throw away all